The time is 7:49 p.m. Central Standard Time, Texas.
Coming to you from the Tony's in Bedford studios, it's the Backyard Bullshit.
And what you heard just there was our newest addition to the lineup. He calls himself Vince McCoy, but we're going to be referring to him as Vinny because we're in...
Mostly because it's easier.
Agreed. So Vinny, why don't you tell us how you're going to contribute to the show?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you guys calling me Vinny. My name is Vince McCoy. Let's make that clear. So, to you beautiful listeners at home, Vince McCoy's here for you. I'll be your cousin Vinny any day of the week. Yeah, I just felt like fart noise was the best way to introduce myself into the show.
It really shows the class that this show tries to stick to.
Yeah, no, it felt appropriate.
A high-class program we have for you today, and we are going to start things off with the NFL, as always.
Big football, big football, big football.
Big weekend last weekend. Big weekend. A lot of good games. A lot of big games.
Cowboys actually won on the road.
Yeah, definitely a good place to start is the Cowboys game. I mean, you know, it was kind of do or die for them at this point in the year. Things have gone south. The offense has looked terrible.
Awful.
You know,
Absolutely awful.
Yeah, and it's the same narrative we've heard with Jason Garrett for years and years and years at this point.
When is Jerry Jones going to figure out that he's a 500 coach? And you know what? A 500 coach in the NFL is pretty good. If you win 500 of the games, 50% of the games that you participate in, that's pretty good in the NFL. However, it shouldn't keep you around very long because it's about winning championships or at least making the playoffs regularly.
Yeah, it is shocking that Jerry has kept Jason around for so long because, you know, the mantra with the Cowboys, we've had some good years. Of course, the Dez catch and then Zeke and Dak's, you know, breakout season. But other than that, it's been a pretty spare team for about a decade. 8-8, a lot of 9-7.
Right.
And
well, they'll go 13-3 and then 4-12.
Yeah, and break your heart.
And get you back to 500. They're just 500 coaches. Maybe one good year, some breaks go for them one year. The breaks don't go for them in another year. And that's, you know, the way Jason Garrett runs things.
Yeah.
With his out-of-date offense, I think you could run his offense. I just think you need more. You do need a better passer than Dak to be able to really sustain even a semi-modern offense. He just, you can't throw for less than 200 yards a game and expect to win.
Yeah, I fully agree. I didn't mean to get on a tangent about Cowboy football and the state of it, but it's, we're in DFW. It feels appropriate. Yeah, I think part of the problem is the offense that's run with Dak. I'm not saying he was some gunslinger at Mississippi State.
No.
But the guy at one point beat Alabama, had his team top 4 in the country when the college football playoff was coming out. He's a slept-on guy. His senior year wasn't as great, but he was in the Heisman run at one point. And I think you put that guy... Look, I'm not saying you got to revolutionize the NFL and bring in a purely spread RPO-type college offense.
Does he remind you of Jay Fiedler? Every time I watch him play, I just think Jay Fiedler.
That's funny. I mean, things are going to have to change after this year unless the Cowboys do something crazy and win.
Go off on a run.
Yeah, if they win 7 games in a row and we all feel great about this thing at the end, I don't think that's going to happen. And one of two things is probably going to have to change. Jerry is either going to get rid of Jason Garrett and he's going to bet on Dak Prescott, or he's going to give up on Dak Prescott and keep Jason Garrett. Right. And I don't think he's going to tank both of them. If you're asking me, I'd rather get rid of Jason Garrett, get a new system.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what Dak can do running with something else.
Speaking of unexpected wins this weekend, though, how about my Browns?
Yeah, how about the Browns?
Your Browns did win 28-16.
They dominated the Falcons. That really was, even the last touchdown was kind of a garbage touchdown for the Falcons. I mean, the Browns really handed it to them that game. Baker Mayfield didn't even play that well.
Yeah, he did well. I mean, his stat line.
His stat line's good, but he.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mickey, but it's. I think Baker went 3 touchdowns, like 285 or so, no picks.
Yeah.
I may be off by a couple numbers there, but yeah,
he definitely had 3 passing touchdowns.
Out of this whole quarterback class coming out, I felt like Baker Mayfield was the best. Just man, the dude's a competitor. I don't love Oklahoma football, but
bitter.
Yeah, I cannot deny greatness when you see it.
You gotta understand my bitterness on this as a Texas Tech alum.
Oh yeah, I'm a Longhorn fan.
I hate him with a fiber and a passion. Because he also played at Tech his freshman year. And
yeah.
So,
well, and he's a douchebag.
He's a douchebag.
He's a douchebag. Like that's.
I actually wanted Josh Rosen. That's who I actually wanted them to take. But
yeah, I mean, that all being said. Look, I like watching Baker play. He's good. He's got the Browns in a good place. They've got weapons around him. And Greg Davis, the coach of the Browns, that man is a psychopath. But he's really good. Yeah. Oh, what a Greg. Yes, we're talking about the same dude.
Yeah, you mean Bountygate?
Bountygate. Yeah, he's a psychopath. But the dude knows X's and O's. That's all he lives for.
He does.
Good for the Browns.
Exactly.
You were asking earlier, Vinny, about Baker Mayfield. I'll edit that out.
Baker Mayfield.
He went for 3 touchdowns, 216 yards, with 17 completions on 20 passes.
So
okay.
20, that's a pretty good game.
Yeah,
good numbers.
216 isn't as much. I thought it was closer to 300 than that, but still 3 touchdowns and no picks. Anytime you do that in the NFL, you're probably going to win.
17 of 20 is a pretty good day. In any account.
Another game I wanted to hit on real quick is the Tennessee versus New England game, because Tennessee came into Dallas. I mean, I think it's safe to say they spanked them pretty good at home, and that's what led into these feelings we were talking about earlier of this is a do or die week. We just lost at home to the Titans, and boom, does Tennessee turn around and they beat up on New England. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, New freaking England, 34-10.
Do you think this used to not happen with Bill Belichick? Bill Belichick used to beat his disciples regularly, like it was nothing. He used to beat the crap out of them. I mean, I think he hadn't even lost one until Matt Patricia earlier this year, and he's lost 2 or 3 this season. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they're maybe figuring him out. Maybe he stopped doing Spygate. Maybe
he stopped cheating. I mean, the Patriots are known for cheating. No, I think
what
coming into the year, I definitely thought Bill Belichick and the Tom Brady. You heard kind of murmurs in the kind of offseason that Tom Brady and his trainer. Tom Brady's a psycho. He's very high on himself. He's very into his training.
The man doesn't eat strawberries.
The man doesn't eat strawberries. Okay, so he has this way of doing things. It doesn't totally jive with Bill Belichick, and you started to hear rumors that love may be souring a little bit.
Yeah.
Look, I still think the Patriots are going to the playoffs. I still think they're.
Right. I mean, they are still 6-3. It's not like
there's come AFC Championship time, you're probably going to see Tom Brady in that game. Well, and against
especially
Pat
with a
Mahomes,
fairly weak AFC outside of the Chiefs. I mean,
agreed.
The Steelers have been playing really well recently, and we'll talk about the Steelers again here in a minute. But just. The AFC's so weak this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots aren't going
Chargers
anywhere.
Are a sneaky good team. They're getting Joey Bosa back this week, but there's just really nobody out there that maybe the Chiefs, and their defense is awful.
Yeah.
They're lucky they have a guy who's used to having an awful defense in Pat Mahomes when he coming from Texas Tech.
That's funny. No, I mean, I think the blood is in the water for New England. I think it's probably going to be 3 more years before you really see that downturn. But they're going to be in the conversation this year. I don't know that they're going to the Super Bowl. I think they're totally beatable. But
I mean, really, outside of maybe the Saints and the Rams, everybody has real weaknesses out there.
Yeah, they do, and the Patriots can still score 40 points.
But on any given day.
Huge win for the Titans. Huge win for Mariota and that group who are trying to kind of get their show figured out.
Right.
What is Derrick Henry?
Right.
What is Corey Davis, first round pick? I think he was the number 6 overall pick or something like that. I mean, that's.
And he started showing up the last couple of weeks. So
yeah, no, he's a good player. I mean, in fact, if you're a fantasy player, I like guys from the Tennessee offense. I like Dion Lewis and I like Corey Davis just because they're talented and the amount of volume they get. But they're still trying to figure things out a little bit. But a huge win. Huge win.
Especially coming off that Cowboys victory where everybody said they kind of got lucky. They really showed their true mettle. And I think Mike Vrabel's a hell of a coach.
Yeah. Other than that...
I had a game I wanted to interject into this here. During our first show, we discussed the Buffalo Bills and what an enigma they are turning out to be this semester, this season.
Somebody's in school.
You're still in college, huh?
I'm graduating. The Bills went on to beat the Jets 41-10. Now, bear in mind, this is the same Buffalo Bills team that got destroyed by, 30-plus points earlier in the season by a single team?
That was, by the way, Matt Barkley as the starting quarterback for Buffalo in that game.
Matt Barkley's still playing football?
He started for the Buffalo Bills in that game. They cut Peterman.
Matt Barkley.
Matt Barkley,
232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 15 out of 25 throws. I mean, what do y'all make of the Bills? They're kind of like the team everyone loves to hate when they lose, but when they win,
I just don't. The lack of a solid quarter. I don't respect the Bills.
I mean, it's weird. They've only beat good teams this year, other than the Jets. Like their other two, they beat the crap out of the Vikings.
Yeah, but they got smoked by Indianapolis.
They got smoked by a lot of teams. They're not a good team.
They're not a good team.
Do you want me to read every single time they've lost and what the point differential was?
Yeah, I kind of do. I do want to know that.
All right, y'all keep talking while I look that up.
Oh, okay. Well,
why don't we go ahead and talk about Le'Veon Bell and that whole what the hell?
He passed up on $14.5 million this season.
He did.
To make more money, which is the ironic part. I don't understand. Like, I don't see how he's gonna make, say it's a 5-year deal, an extra $3 million a year to justify sitting out that 1 year.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I have to admit, I kind of am a sympathizer of Le'Veon Bell, and I'll get on my soapbox here for a minute.
You're not a franchise tag fan?
I'm not a huge franchise tag fan because the NFL, these guys just get the living hell beat out of them, and they have the shortest career span. It's no surprise when people hear that. 3 to 4 years is the average NFL career span. Right. For a running back, especially a guy that runs like Le'Veon Bell, between the tackles, I mean, the punishment is real. And so,
fair enough.
Yes, $14.5 million is a lot of money.
It is.
But we've seen time after time.
Look what happened to Earl Thomas.
I was just about to say Earl Thomas. They wouldn't give him a contract, and he's like, you know what? Fine, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to earn that money, and somebody else will give me a contract. And the son of a gun, he blew out his ACL? It's a season.
I think he broke his leg.
But
it was just a season ending.
It was tragic. It was tragic, and I
ended up flicking off the team and all that stuff. Yeah.
I respect Le'Veon Bell for trying to get a little bit of delayed gratification and looking at this situation like, okay, I can make 14.5 here, but if I blow my knee out, I'm probably never going to play another down of football. Or I could probably take. I know he wants Todd Gurley money. He's not going to get Todd Gurley money, but he's going to get 13. He's going to get 12. I think there's teams out there that would pay him $12 million a year right now. If he gets a 3-year deal for $12 million a year with 24 of it guaranteed,
I guarantee
that's worth the holdout to me.
I guarantee you he's going to get a 4-year. This is what I'm looking at. Probably 4-year.
40 mil?
No, higher than that. Probably 50 mil. 50 to 55.
See, that's worth it, right? That's worth sitting out. Because the longevity of his career is protected. He's secured by. I like the move. I do.
Who do you think would offer him that money, though?
Jets.
Yeah, the Jets could really use it. I think Baltimore could use a running back in the worst way. I think Miami is probably a really they got Frank Gore right now. They could use a great running back.
They're in salary cap hell after cutting Ndamukong Suh this offseason.
Yeah, they are. That's rough. I mean, there's a list of teams. I think teams like the Saints and the Rams and Dallas and Kansas City wouldn't take him, but you think the Patriots wouldn't take a look at
absolutely.
Le'Veon Bell on a 3-year deal?
Well, I don't know. Sonny Michel's played pretty well for him before.
Sonny Michel has played pretty well. You're right.
And I will say this: if there's anything we've learned about Bill Belichick over the years, he's pretty good at drafting defense, but he cannot draft a wide receiver or running back to save his life.
No, he can't. Josh Gordon was one of the best things that ever happened to that man.
Yeah, there was I don't know if you heard of this. There was a guy it was the announcer for the Patriots during the Browns or during. That game where Gordon caught the touchdown. I can't remember when. It's not the last game. I think the game before.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Kansas City, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And not against Kansas City, against the Packers. And he goes, "Oh, Josh Gordon has this amazing run touchdown. Thank you, Cleveland."
Just that little slide to Cleveland real quick. No, I to your question, Mick, as far as who takes Le'Veon Bell? I mean, I think there's probably 15 teams in the league that take a serious look and would, if they have the cap space.
Especially if it's only a 3 or 4 year deal.
Yeah.
Gets him to just over 30, that'd be perfect. Now, if he's going to try to get something crazy like a 6-year deal.
Well, he ain't going to get that.
He's not going to be able to get that.
He's a running back, but I think 3 years, $15 million from a team with enough cap room and could really use a running back. I think a team like Baltimore or Detroit even would be a great spot for him to play.
Kerryon Johnson's played pretty well this year there too.
Kerryon Johnson's played pretty well this year, but
you can always use him.
Established back like that.
There are very few teams in the league that Le'Veon Bell wouldn't come in and be a better player than pretty much everybody else.
So there's. I'm with you, Le'Veon Bell. I side with you. I think
it's just hard for me to. My biggest thing was he said he did it for other players. That is a BS lie, and I don't appreciate it.
All right, so I even think there's a little bit of truth in that. Not to get too far off on this argument here, but I do think. So I'm of the belief when the next NFLPA, the Players Association.
There will be a lockout and a strike.
Both sides. And I think there should be. Damn it! I think the NFL brings in so much more money than really any of these other leagues. These guys need to get paid better. They need fully guaranteed deals. They are playing a violent sport where guys are getting bigger and stronger.
They do need to figure out a way that they can get fully guaranteed deals and not, if they do get injured, that it won't count against the cap.
I agree.
If there's a way they could figure that out, the logistics on that, I think it could be worth it because.
And if that means holding out 4 games, hold out 4 games.
I can see both sides. I can see the ownership side of it too. You don't want to pay this guy, $100 million. Oh, no. And in such a violent game like football, and he sees 6 games of that $100 million, and then
this is the thought of a wealthy owner sitting in his suit in his luxury box, looking at a dude who's going out there and dogging on the NFL field, and he's like, I don't know if that guy's worth that much money to me. I could go do that. That's just a dirty dude that I picture in my head. I don't like the owners. I think they need to pay the players. But anyway, do we want to talk about?
We'll pick up that debate another time.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about this week's matchups at all? There's I'm looking through here now. If there's a couple
of
these
ones. I know there's Cowboys and Falcons are this week. I know. You got some?
I'm looking through here.
I have the results of the Bills games if y'all want to make a game out of it.
Do tell.
So I have the scores in front of me, and I want y'all to guess how big the point differential was after I tell you what team they played. Sound fun?
Yeah.
All right. Season opener against the Ravens. What do you think the point differential was?
I actually know the answer to this.
I'm going to say 25. I don't know off the top of my head.
It was 34.
Well, you're both wrong. It was 44.
44 points.
Yeah.
The final score was 47-3 in Baltimore's favor.
Oh, my God. Okay. So 44.
The second game against the Los Angeles Chargers. It was a home game. What do you think the point differential was?
30.
Peterman was still starting that game, so
I'm playing Price is Right rules. I got to stay under.
I'm going 21.
Both wrong again, although Coolhand, you were closer. The point differential was 11.
Okay.
The final score was 31-20 in the Chargers' favor.
Against a decent Chargers team. Okay.
That's a pretty good team. Yeah.
Now, this is an away game at Minnesota, which this is one of the games they won. What do you think the point differential was?
Pretty sure the final score of that game was 27-6.
Do you agree with that, Cousin Vinny?
Boy, if you had asked me that without telling me that Minnesota won, I was going to say, or I'm sorry, if you had just told me Minnesota versus Buffalo, what do you think the point spread's going to be on that? I would have taken Minnesota by 30.
Oh, yeah, that's what I assumed was going to happen. I remember looking at my phone, I was like, what?
Yeah, so anything you tell me here is going to be a shock to me. They beat Minnesota. Okay.
Coolhand was correct. The final score was 27-6.
Okay.
This was another away game against another. I'm blanking on the division, but it's the one the Vikings and the
NFC North.
Yep.
The NFC North. This is another NFC North opponent. It's an away game against the Packers. Fun fact: this game was a shutout. What was the point differential?
31.
Coolhand, once again, you were closer. 22-0.
Man, what a bitch. I hate him.
All right. This is an interesting one. This is a game they won at home against the Titans. What was the point differential?
2.
Yeah, I'm going to say 4.
Coolhand, you were on a streak. The point differential was 1. The final score was 13-12.
God, it's a bad football game.
Yeah, that's a game that they should have just not played. Just played Madden instead. All
right, we're going down the list here. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Don't you look.
I was
going to
look at what their record was.
It's 3-7. They are tied.
Way better than it should be.
They are technically third in the AFC East, even though they have the same record as the Jets.
They do have some defensive players that are pretty good, but outside of that,
I think of their defense as salty for sure. Although clearly not the fact.
So their next game was at the Houston Texans. This is a game they lost. What was the point differential?
20.
13.
Coolhand, you were once again closer. The final score was 20-13 in Houston's favor.
I'm getting taken to town.
This is another game, another away game against the Indianapolis Colts. What was the point differential?
This was like 42-3 or something like that. So
I'm
going to say 38 points.
I'll go 30.
The final score was 37-5 in Indianapolis's favor.
God, it's a bad. If you get beat that bad by Indianapolis,
I feel like they've had a lot of safeties. I hear a lot of scores that feel like there should be a lot of safeties. 12, like 15, like
11.
The next game against their AFC Eastern rivals, the Patriots. What was the point differential? It was a home game for the Bills.
30. Against the Patriots?
Yes.
30.
14.
The final score was 25-6.
Yeah, that feels like me. We're going to go with me.
I'm going to give that one to you.
Yeah.
Two more. This is another home game
Anybody who just listened to that and did the math, no, I lied. But it's fine.
This is another home game against the Bears. This one should be fresh in y'all's memory. What was the point differential?
They played the Bears this year?
It was a home game. Happened a few weeks ago.
I'm going to say the Bears won by 27. Jordan Howard had 2 touchdowns and Tariq Cohen had 1.
Would you like a side of fries with that?
And an apple turnover.
I feel like this was a close game. I'm going to go with 6.
I'm doing some math here. None of you were even close. The final score was 41-9. Bears favor.
32 points, huh?
big.
Correct. And the last one. This is an away game against the New York Jets.
We just talked about this, so.
Yeah.
31 points, man. 31 points.
31 points it is.
Boy, that's a lot of time spent on a bad Bills program. So if you're a Bills fan out there,
this is the second time we've talked to him about it.
I hope there's Bills fans out there that just heard us go through that sad record. And
No, there's not.
Go jump off a trailer and break your table and draft more offense. That's all I'm saying about the Bills.
Well,
Welcome to the Browns Club.
Yeah. Games I wanted to talk about in the NFL real quick before we got to move on to something else. Chiefs Rams, huge game.
Oh yeah,
Fireworks.
Especially now that game has moved from Mexico City to LA.
Yep. Huge point. Yeah, the field. If
Unbelievable.
Google the Mexico City NFL field.
Makes me want to vomit. That's how bad it was.
The field was black. I mean, basically they had a huge concert on this grass field, the weekend before the Mexico City Stadium was supposed to host an NFL game. Chiefs-Rams, huge game.
I mean, probably the biggest game played outside of the United States ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's
even bigger than the London games and Wembley Stadium?
You mean the Jacksonville London team?
Yeah. What was that?
Yes.
Jacksonville, Tennessee? Chiefs Rams could be a preview for your Super Bowl the way these guys are playing right
absolutely.
now. So, yeah, I'm glad they flexed the game. I'm glad they moved it off the field.
Right. Absolutely.
If I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Chiefs over the Rams. It's close. I'm thinking like 45-38, but
this is the biggest over-under game since 1985. I think it's 64 points.
it's a lot.
That's a lot. And I'm still going with the over. But I'm going to take the Rams 42-37.
I'm going to keep track of these. All right, so you took Rams.
I'm also going to go with the Rams, but I think it's going to be within 7 points. I do think it's going to be a close game.
All right, well, that's fine. I'll show you guys.
You know what this is really going to
Pat
remind me
Mahomes
of?
is for real, guys. Y'all sleep on those Chiefs.
This is really going to be a Texas Tech Cal game is what this is going to be.
Yeah, that's a really good reference point. That's
because it's just going to be a bunch of spread offenses, and let's see what happens.
Let's
open it up and let's go. Let's see what happens.
Another game of interest for me. I'm not going to talk about all the NFL games, but Bears and Vikings.
That is a big game.
That's a big game. NFC North.
Vikings need to show who they are.
Another two offenses that I like. I really like what Mitch Trubisky's doing in Chicago. I think their running back tandem's really good.
They got some decent receivers out there. Allen Robinson looked pretty good last week.
Yeah.
He's on my fantasy team.
And then Khalil Mack. I mean, Khalil Mack is a dog for Chicago. He's a
monster, man. He's a monster.
That's a.
He brought the monster back to the Midway. That's
the Bears 6-3. I mean,
they're leading the North.
Don't sleep. That could be a playoff
team. They got a
team.
good defense, and they proved in 2006 they went to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
Oh yeah, they did. University of Florida, great.
Yes, sir. Actually drafted by the Packers, ironically.
I do want to touch on the Vikings too, though, because to me, Rams Chiefs is the fireworks game of the week, but Chicago Vikings is up there too.
This is the old school game of the week.
Yeah, I mean it's old school, but both these teams air it out.
Yeah.
They've got quarterback. I like Kirk Cousins. I really like Thielen and Steph Diggs in Minnesota. If Dalvin Cook can get things straight, that's a dynamic offense too.
Their offensive line could really protect long enough as well. That's a concern that I have. They haven't been protecting as well as they can.
Well, and Dalvin Cook hadn't been able to stay healthy, partly because he hasn't had great room to run, and But I'm gonna take the Bears in that one, but it's close. I mean, it's kind of a toss up for me.
Is it in Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably take the Bears as well then.
Yeah, Bears are favorable.
It's really a pick'em game to me at this point.
Yeah,
but since it's in Chicago, I'll take the Bears.
Only other games of interest.
The game I'm interested
Redskins Texans. They're both 6-3. That's actually kind of a big game.
Sorry, someone predicted the Redskins are going to win the division this year. By the way, I just want to point that out.
You gonna throw that out there?
Yeah.
They still might. What are you gonna say?
Oh, well, I say I'm interested in this game, but I say that ironically. It's the Tampa Bay Giants game.
Oh, man.
It's at New York. Neither team have done
You
well.
couldn't pay me to watch that football game.
I'm a big Saquon fan, so I like.
He's a freak. Wow, he's good.
He is a monster.
That's the future of the NFL, that kid.
I mean, he's too much of a unicorn, I think. I don't think there's. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, I'm also kind of a Penn State guy, so it's just. I've
That's
been
fair.
watching him for years, and it's just.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's at Penn State. He was unbelievable. The moment he got to the NFL, he was heads. He's a top 5 back right now in football.
Now, I mean, and going in fantasy football, I mean, he was a top 5 running back taken.
Oh yeah, and you get in your returns. If you took
Oh, yeah.
Saquon Barkley in the first round in your fantasy football draft, you're getting your money's worth for sure. He's been fantastic. He's the only bright spot on that Giants team.
Yeah, OBJ's been garbage. He hasn't been bad. He's just.
I blame that on Eli Manning.
Yeah,
OBJ's a special talent too.
I bet they really wish their backup quarterback hadn't gotten arrested a couple weeks ago because they'd really like to play him, but they can't.
I am gonna take Tampa Bay in this trash of a game.
I'm actually gonna go Giants.
I'm taking Tampa Bay because I think the Giants are gonna tank and they're gonna try to get themselves a decent quarterback.
You're that Herbert kid.
There's not a whole lot coming out, but
I mean,
I
I like Will Greer, but
I like Real Grill too.
I'm also going to go New York, but largely because Ryan Fitzpatrick has not, since he's been named the starter for Tampa Bay, he hasn't been playing as well as he did at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my official prediction.
Yeah, I guess the last one we gotta talk Cowboys Falcons before we move on. I wish I could give you a really solidified answer in what I thought was going to happen in this game. I have no idea what Falcons team shows up and what Cowboys team shows up.
Neither team has been consistent this year.
No.
The Falcons were looking great for 3 weeks and then got smoked by the Browns.
Well, and on paper, that's a team that should be really good.
Yeah. Oh, and then they have talent everywhere. Their defense has taken a pretty big hit with the injuries this year.
Yeah, it's still stout up front. The D line what they have in those interior linemen. Again, on paper, the Falcons should be really, really good. They should be one of the best teams in the NFC. But, they're 4-5.
Right.
And so are the Cowboys.
So are the Cowboys. I mean, this is essentially an elimination game. I feel. The loser of this game is pretty much done for the playoffs. They're not officially done, but I think it really... I mean, if you go 4-6, you're really chasing at that point.
I think the Cowboys, if they lose this game, which I don't think they're gonna... I think they're actually going to win this game because I'm not very high on Atlanta. But if the Cowboys lose this game, I think it's less. I mean, you're 4-6. It's pretty bad. But Atlanta having to overcome what Carolina's doing and what the Saints are doing, it's not happening.
No, I mean, they're definitely not going to be able to win the division.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is the Cowboys do have an easier path. Because even though I did say the Redskins were going to win the division,
NFC East is soft.
But it's the NFC
Especially with the Eagles not being
sure.
as good as we thought.
Oh, the Eagles are awful.
Yeah.
Two weeks ago, if we were talking about this game, I would say that Atlanta was going to win, but because the Cowboys at the beginning of that season had not won on the road, and then they beat Philly. So I honestly think it's a toss-up.
I think it's a total toss. Where's it at? Is it in Atlanta?
It is.
It's in the ATL, yeah.
The Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
You know they sell $2 beer there?
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a nice stadium, too.
Super fancy.
What, Jerry Jones? Man, take a lesson. You got a nice stadium, too. You can afford $2 Budweisers at those games.
Not with the art gallery. I'm editing this out, too.
It's good. Words are hard.
Not with the art gallery we have in the Cowboy Stadium.
Or the Victoria's Secret.
June Jones put up a lot of art in here. And we're going to take that art all the way to the Super Bowl.
Hold on a second.
Victoria's Secret, yes.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I'm Jerry Jones, and I took Vinny McCoy's spot here. I had to declare that it was my spot to take, and that's all I'll say about that. Go Cowboys.
Jerry, do you get personal runway show?
Get out of here, old man. I'm back.
Oh, boo, Jerry.
And with that cameo by Jerry Jones, do y'all have any closing thoughts on the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I'll almost be tuned into Chiefs and Rams this week, and I'm a Titans
Fortunately
fan,
on
so-
Monday night, so that'll be... You can actually make plans and do stuff with that. So.
I've been waiting all Sunday for Monday night, so thank you,
didn't know
Carrie
this was-
Underwood.
I didn't know this was NBC Sports.
Yeah.
Thank you, Faith Hill. Carrie Underwood, get out of here.
Oh, I don't know. That's a 1A and a 1B for me.
Yeah,
I do love
do
using
that.
Faith Hill.
We should do that. Well, Faith Hill's a classic. She's like Julia Roberts or Jennifer Aniston. She's just untimely hot.
That's my girl right there. I can talk about some Jennifer Aniston all day.
Yeah,
But they're great for their minds and their hearts, not for their looks, because all women are created equal.
and each of them have fantastic bodies of work.
Yes. Yes. Fantastic bodies of work. I don't know how much time we got left. We got to touch on college ball a little bit too, and then but let's circle to that.
College football, y'all.
College football. Okay. So the big hits I want to talk about in college ball. One, I'm gonna keep it local at first and talk about Texas Tech and the University of Texas.
My alma mater, my Red Raiders.
My diehard favorite, my Texas Longhorns. Now, we were dealing with an interesting night. I will say weird things happen in Lubbock at night.
Oh yeah, it's a tough place to play at night. That wind swirls around in there. It's not quite as bad as it used to. Not that they filled in the stadium, but it's still they wear the dark jerseys and they just
Oh yeah, I mean it's a rabid environment for sure. And so what
we
made
get a little crazy out there. That's for sure.
definitely what made this game cool is we're 10 years removed from one of the greatest plays in college football history, where number 1 Texas playing number 5 Texas Tech, I believe. It was a huge game, back and forth.
One of my favorite moments ever.
Yeah, at the end of the game, Graham Harrell takes it and he takes a drive down the field at the end of the game, fourth quarter, and what does Michael Crabtree do?
Not go out of bounds. The funny thing is, if I'm the Texas cornerback, I make sure I push him out of bounds because Tech's field goal kicker that year was only making about 50% of his kicks. And so you have to push him out of bounds. The fact that they didn't push him out of bounds and he managed to walk into the end zone, well, it was one of the greatest moments of my life. I was actually at a Texas game watching party for that particular incident. So there's like 3 of us Tech fans just all hugging in a circle and a whole bunch of sad Texas fans. And it was amazing.
That is one of the darkest football memories I have. But, I mean, arguably the biggest win in Texas Tech history.
Oh, easily the biggest win in Texas Tech history.
So 10 years ago, that happens. So fast forward to this week. Texas ranked number 17 in the country. Have had their ups and downs. They got a great win over Oklahoma. They beat USC. Definitely things are on the up and up down in Austin, but they took a hard loss to West Virginia.
Yep.
And, the Oklahoma State game was tough. They're coming off a little bit of a down stretch.
Right.
And Texas really needed this. Whereas Texas Tech, they've had a pretty good year. They haven't been great. The Big 12 is really competitive, but their offense is good. I think Coach Bro, Cliff Kingsbury, has earned his right another season.
He'll be back next year for sure.
Yeah.
They may go 500 this year. They got Kansas State and Baylor left on their schedule. And so they might go 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some tough losses in there. They lost to both Oklahoma and Texas by less than a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State was tough. There were some bad calls in that game that really cost Tech. I'm not blaming it on the refs, but they definitely had an impact on that. So some close, really good games. Tech's been basically in every game except for the Ole Miss game this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's nice to see Tech heading in the right direction, but Texas is on that way as well.
Yeah, and what made this game so cool is 10 years ago you have this great 30-yard catch, 30-yard catch, 10 seconds left in the game. Crabtree breaks it, scores.
Right.
Place goes nuts.
plus the 1 second left, and
Right.
then the 2 penalties, so they're kicking off from like the 7.
Well, and in this game, 10 years later, the exact same thing happens at the end of the game, but it's reversed. And Sam Ehlinger, who now has thrown 20 touchdowns against only 2 interceptions on the year, he's got the Big 12 record for completions, consecutive completions without an interception.
Right.
He played spectacular, and sure enough, Texas has got the ball. There's about 29 seconds left. Ehlinger goes back, throws a 30-yard pass down
That surprised me that they threw that ball there.
Boy, I couldn't believe they went for that there, but they did. They go for the win. They're trying to score late. All they had to do was kick a field goal. It was 45-45, I believe.
Yeah.
And sure enough, in the exact same corner of the end zone that Michael Crabtree made his catch, a guy from Southlake, Texas named Lil Jordan Humphrey
Little Jordan.
makes a catch at the 5-yard line, shakes a Tech defender, scores. Texas wins. And
Boo.
it was, as a fan of the sport, you have to just love the 10 years ago this happened, and then Texas does the exact same thing. I mean,
The
really cool game.
cyclicalness of it.
Really cool game. As a Texas fan, I lost my mind. And it was
As a Tech fan, I lost my mind too, but just the other direction.
well, you know what? The bigger stakes 10 years ago when we were number 1 in the
well,
country.
that's true.
But
That's true.
that's the big game I want to hit on. Coming up this week, keep it kind of brief. Texas and Iowa State. That's a top 20 matchup. As
Yeah.
Iowa State's sitting at number 16,
I'll tell you
Texas
what,
number
Ames
15.
is a tough place to play too.
Yeah, and Iowa State is a sneaky good team.
They are.
Texas, they need some things to happen. They need Oklahoma to beat West Virginia, and they probably need Oklahoma to lose to Oklahoma State in order to make it to the Big 12 championship, but it's not off the table. There's still a lot for them to play for, and yeah, I mean, you hope that Tom Herman keeps that moving in the right direction, but Iowa State's sneaky good.
Yeah. They, like I said, they are tough. They give Tech problems every year, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I feel like they shouldn't.
No, they did. I mean, Iowa State, they beat Oklahoma last year. They beat West Virginia this year. I mean, every year
They beat somebody.
they ruin somebody's day in the Big 12, and somebody who's good.
Because I'm not completely sold that West Virginia's out of this thing yet. Because
Well, so that's the other game in the Big 12 that I think has big implications is West Virginia versus Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
West Virginia's got to go to Oklahoma State. It's a 3:30 game, so it's not nighttime,
Right.
but
Stillwater's still also a tough place to play.
Stillwater's a tough place to play. Oklahoma State played OU. I mean, they went for a 2-point conversion to win the game, and they didn't get it.
Yeah.
But that was awesome, going for the 2. I root for that every time.
The mullet.
I like Mike Gundy. I love what he's done at Oklahoma State.
I'll tell you this: $500 million buys a pretty good college football team.
Yeah, it does.
T. Boone Pickens.
But if I'm West Virginia, I'm nervous about this.
It's not an easy place to play, and I've always kind of considered Oklahoma State Texas Tech's rivals, and so
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with that.
they're always good games. And West Virginia really runs a Tech offense, and so I mean Dana Holgerson was at Tech when I was there, and so I'm a big fan. I'm hoping West Virginia comes through. I really like to see them because I think they really have the best chance out of any team in the Big. I think they're better than Oklahoma. I'm not sure they beat Oklahoma, but I think they are better than Oklahoma.
So, 2 thoughts on that. Yeah, tough game for West Virginia, for one. Oklahoma State's a tough place. You never know what's going to happen. You better bring your A game.
You better, yeah.
You better bring your A game.
You better not show up like you did in Ames.
Right, because
Because they
Oklahoma
got
State...
smoked in the first half of that game.
Oklahoma
That's the reason why
State
they ended up
will
losing.
smoke your ass if they get the chance.
Yeah.
If they get up a
I
couple
know
of
they have a
scores.
walk-on freshman quarterback this year, so it's been a little bit of a struggle for OK State, but
They're still salty, and they still
And
have
they're
that
at
Mike
home.
Gundy magic. Yeah.
and that 3:30 is tough because they have an East-West stadium, and so the sun will be in somebody's eyes for a part of that game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the few times that the coin flip matters.
And we'll kind of wrap up college football for at least this week. We'll go more in depth in the college football playoffs next week, and
When
kind
things
of,
really more established.
yeah, when
and kind of-
conference championships are starting to shape up and things like that. But
Right.
the only other point I wanted to make is you mentioned West Virginia and Oklahoma are probably the two best shots. If the Big 12's putting somebody in the playoff, it's going to be one of those two.
Right.
And we can expand on this more. I think Oklahoma beats West Virginia. I think Oklahoma's a better team. Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I know Carly Murray's great and everything. I'm such a big Will Greer fan.
Who's great as well. Yeah.
And Kyler Murray, I mean, he's impossible to stop. I mean, they almost lost to Army.
Mm-hmm.
They should have lost to Army, arguably.
They should have. They did lose to Texas.
They did Texas
fine. Texas fine. And goodbye away.
They did mount a huge
sucked.
comeback in that game, but I just don't know. I like West. I think maybe part of it is I like West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I just like Dana Holgerson, and so maybe that makes me a little partial. But I believe that game is in Oklahoma, so
yeah.
That means they're traveling back to Oklahoma.
I agree with you.
2 weeks in a row, and that's just nuts.
I love Will Greer. He's a grown-ass man playing college football.
Yeah,
and
he's an NFL player, guy who should already be in the NFL playing.
Yeah, and he will. I think. I mean, that's going to be a great game. But that's why we'll dive into college football more next time. So hold that. Games to watch. Keep an eye on Texas, Iowa State. Keep an eye on West Virginia, OSU. And that's your local football college wrap.
All right. Now that we've put a little bit of a bow on the football for this week, Mickey and I we're gonna talk a little all-time basketball.
Yeah.
And an all-time starting five. And
so
he's gonna help us with this.
Yeah, I'll kind of moderate here. So we're teasing this a bit. We're gonna give you guys an appetizer. We're not gonna give you the whole thing because you deserve more, and you're gonna get more next week. But what we're doing here is we're putting together our two top 5 NBA teams. These can be all-time players. These can be current players. These can be anything you want. So we'll dive into that a little bit, get the team set, and then next week we're going to give you, radio listeners, a virtual game in front of your eyes, and we're going to debate which team wins that. But for starters, let's... Mickey, I think we'll let you lead off with you got 5 spots to fill. Give me your top 5 all-time team.
At center, the number 1 player on the all-time scoring list. You know him. You love him. He had a cameo in the Airplane movie. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem. I mean, I knew he was coming off the list early. I will now look to Coolhand.
All right, so I went in a little bit of a different direction. My number 1 pick has been in a lot of movies as well. He's been a police officer. He's kind of an idiot, even though they call him the bigger Aristotle. That's right. Shaquille O'Neal.
Man, I was hoping you were going to say Shaq. I love me some Shaq.
He is the most dominating player I've ever seen.
Okay, so, again, this is just your appetizer. But we're going to get you out here, and we're going to give you your teams right now. We've got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for Mickey and Coolhand for Shaq. We're going to go back to Mickey and let you tell me what you're going to pick.
At power forward, 21 seasons with one team. Has his signature move, the one-legged fadeaway.
Oh, God.
The sole reason the Dallas Mavericks won Game 3 of the 2011 NBA Finals with
That's 100% true.
with the layup past Chris Bosh off of his left hand, which had previously been injured, Dirk Nowitzki.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. God bless you, sweet Dirk.
All right. I'm probably going to show a little bias. I think you probably just showed a little bias with yours as well. At the 4 for me, my power forward, he's got a ring for each finger. He's a big man. Big man. Should be playing a 5, but I'm listening more as a 4. Out of Wake Forest, my Timothy Duncan.
Boy, and what a great little rivalry, Dallas, San Antonio. For years, we got to watch those guys. Again, it's just an appetizer. You get more next week. On to the next one.
For my 3, at small forward, you cannot mention the Boston Celtics without mentioning his name.
Robert Parrish?
He graced the cover.
Kevin McHale?
Smoking on that headband. Call that Paul Pierce.
He was the other half of the rivalry that reignited the NBA in the 1980s, Larry Bird.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. On to you, Hand So Cool.
We're gonna go with maybe the greatest player of all time. Something for debate. That's
Ooh, yes, another debate for another time. Yes.
Another debate. Yes, that's up for debate. But he went straight from high school to the NBA. He actually had the #1 high school game of all time ever recorded. We all know him. We all either hate him or love him.
Put the
He plays
throne.
for the Lakers now. Started with the Cavs. You know who I'm talking about. That would be LBJ LeBron James.
The LBJ
James.
that should be president. The LBJ that didn't kill Kennedy. LeBron James. Excellent. So Larry Bird and LeBron as our forwards.
So LeBron James didn't go to Texas State either?
All right, let's get our shooting guards.
You know, you mentioned the greatest of all time, but I find it personally insulting that you did not put this guy as your number 2 spot. 6 rings, 2 three-peats. The star of the movie Space Jam.
LeBron's also about to start in Space Jam. I just want to point that out.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. But I'm talking about the true Space Jammer. The man who almost everyone knows when it comes to basketball. I'm Michael Jordan.
God bless you, MJ. God bless your apparel line. You know why? Because it makes white guys like me look cool. And I appreciate that.
So
We got cool.
I decided to go out on a limb on this pick. Way out there. Just really reach. Winner of 6 NBA championships. Played for North Carolina. Also Michael Jordan.
I mean, it'd be blasphemy if you didn't. So I respect the hell out of both of you. But now, my favorite position, the point guard.
This is going to be a wild card. I'm willing to...
Rajon Rondo.
Shut the fuck up.
Especially as a Mavericks fan, right?
Don't remind me, please. I was
Almost punched Rick Carlisle.
I was overseas when I saw that news happen. But I know my crying what landed in Dallas. This is a point guard who I don't believe gets enough credit in the NBA. And I'm willing to bet that neither of you predicted I was going to pick this guy. This man holds 2 NBA records. All-time steals and all-time assists.
I know who it is, but we also we chose the same guy.
You picked John Stockton too?
I absolutely chose John Stockton.
No way!
Absolutely.
No
chose John
way!
All right, well, way
I
to
got a
ruin
bunch of
my
scores
segment
on my
here.
team. I need someone to be able to facilitate.
Okay, so there are your 2 lineups. Now, next week, we will put our little basketball weenies to work, and we will simulate that game before your very ears. But for tonight, rest easy, sweet angels.
This is Mickey signing off for the BYBS podcast. Thank y'all for listening.
Peace.
Have a great night.
And thank you once again, Cousin Vinny, for joining our crew.
Glad to have you on board.
And God bless America.
Always.